Hey, thanks for coming to 1500ESPN.com. I'm Derek Wetmore. Today I'm going to talk to you about the fallout from the suspension of Twins pitcher Ervin Santana, what it means for the Twins. If you hadn't heard, on Friday, Major League Baseball suspended Twins number 2 starter Ervin Santana for 80 games for testing positive for the steroid stanozolol, commonly known as Winstrol. It's Ervin Santana's first failed drug test, first failed test for steroids, but this is the standard suspension under the current joint drug agreement. First time offense of this kind of steroid, 80 games. So he'll basically sit out half of the season for the Twins. Obviously, that's a gut punch for a team that just signed him to the most expensive free agent contract in franchise history at 4 years, basically $55 million, with some performance incentives thrown in there. That'll be an unpaid suspension. So if you're looking at the value of his contract for the 2015 season, it would have been $13.5 million, but the Twins will save about $6.7 million based on his games missed. He'll be eligible to return in early July, depending on rainouts and doubleheaders and stuff like that. He has to sit out 80 of the teams, or the first 80 games that the Twins played. In a release the same day of the suspension, Santana called the move unexpected. He said it was unexpected for he and his family. He basically alluded to the fact that he didn't knowingly take this. In fact, just to be fair, I'll read from his statement here so that you can get the basic gist of it. If you want to read his full statement, I've posted it to 1500ESPN.com. You can just go to our Twins page and find it there. Santana, in a statement, said, "This is unexpected news for me and my family. I'm issuing this statement so the public knows where I stand. First, my deepest apologies to my family, fans, colleagues, teammates, and my current employer, the Minnesota Twins. I'm very disappointed that I tested positive for a performance-enhancing drug. I'm frustrated that I can't pinpoint how the substance in question entered my body. I would never knowingly take anything illegal to enhance my performance." Skipping some lines here because he talks about the reasons why he wouldn't do it, but I'll just leave those. If you want to go read them, feel free, 1500ESPN.com. I'll skip them for brevity's sake here. He says at the end, "Moving forward, I need to be more careful on what I consume in my home country." He's from the Dominican Republic. Continuing with the quote, "I will be more vigilant of medications I take so that I don't commit another mistake. Having said that, I believe it is best to move forward and accept the punishment set forth in the joint drug agreement. All I can do now is continue to work hard, and when the suspension is up, come back to doing what I love." End quote. That's a lot to take in. Basically, two things that I took out of it is that Santana's claiming, at least for now, that he did not do this intentionally, that he must have been, whether he slipped an anabolic steroid or it was in a medication and he unwittingly took it, accidentally mixed some things up. I guess I'm not exactly sure. He's not clear. But basically it means that he's not claiming responsibility for it. But the other thing to take from this, I don't believe that Santana will appeal his suspension when he said that it's best to just move forward and accept the punishment. He could have appealed. I think that can get to be kind of a messy process. Santana's the third player suspended for stanozolol this winter, and he says he'll just accept it in that statement. What does that mean for the Twins? Well, it means that they've freed up a 25-man roster spot. With that, they recalled left-handed reliever Aaron Thompson. They moved Mike Pelfrey from the bullpen back into the starting rotation. He'll be the fifth starter. Why they passed up Trevor May in Rochester, I don't understand. I think May deserves that roster spot more than Mike Pelfrey, or that spot in the rotation anyways. I wrote a column on that for 1500ESPN.com if you want to go check out my reasons. I disagree with what the Twins did, moving Mike Pelfrey back into the starting rotation. The other fallout, in my opinion, closest to Ervin Santana, is that this pretty much eliminates him from becoming a fan favorite in Minnesota. I thought this was a guy, when I first met him and first started interviewing him, talking him around Twins Fest and down in Fort Myers, I really thought that this was a guy who had potential to become a fan favorite in Minnesota. Decent pitcher, but a very affable guy. He's always smiling, seems to always be in a good disposition. He's got the braids. He's just a little bit offbeat from what I perceived from him anyways. I don't think that many Twins fans will soon forget the fact that he was suspended half a season for taking steroids or for testing positive for steroids. So in my opinion, where before I thought he might become a popular figure around in Minnesota, I no longer think that's really possible. I believe in second chances. I just don't know that the masses will necessarily give that to him. I don't see it happening. Now, the flip side of that coin, he does have 3.5 years to sort of erase that perception as a steroid user and become, a useful pitcher for Minnesota. They're saving the money in this first half of the year, and then for the next 3.5 years, in my opinion, they're getting basically a market rate for a decent pitcher. And so it's not to say that this contract is a whole waste, but man, it's not starting off on the right foot for the Twins, considering that his first half season, he'll be on the sideline, not able to pitch, and that means Mike Pelfrey back to the rotation for the Twins. Obviously, this makes it harder for them to compete. I will say this, I don't think it's as big of a step back as I think a lot of people are expecting. Santana would have been a nice boost to the rotation. There's no question about it. But missing half a season for him and replacing him with a slightly lesser pitcher, whether it's, say, Trevor May or Alex Meyer eventually maybe moves into that spot, it's not the end of the world. You're going to miss 15 starts basically of Ervin Santana and replace that with a somewhat competent pitcher somewhere else. So it's a gut punch from a perception standpoint. Don't get me wrong. But it's not as if the Twins were going to make the playoffs with Santana and now there is no hope. I think the line is probably a little bit more blurred than that. But certainly from a perception standpoint, not a good way for the Twins to start the season, and I'm interested to see how they recover from this. It'll be a daunting episode event to overcome. I think a lot of people are going to remember the 2015 season as the year they got a big money free agent pitcher suspended for taking steroids. That's just going to be the perception moving forward. Like I said, it might not affect on the field, but this is probably one thing that will help define Ervin Santana's Twins tenure. For more on what it means, check out 1500ESPN.com. That will do it for this long and winding video. Find me on Twitter at Derek Wetmore and find all your Twins coverage. 1500ESPN.com. Go to the Sports Wire, bookmark the Twins page. Until next time, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.